Hey guys, my name is Kassidy, and welcome to Butt Dialed, the podcast where we talk about all the things you said while you thought no one was listening. Today it's just going to be me, so it's a little bit different, but I want to go through a couple things with you. So we don't have sponsors. If you are new to this show, we do have 3 versions of the show. There is currently 386. That's all things going around in and out in the community. It's local business people that we want to spotlight. We have Keeping It Real. That's what today is going to be a little bit about. It's just a conversation with me with some thoughts, what I've got going on, and maybe even some tough love. That's my favorite part that you guys need to hear. And then we just have the regular show where me and Maggie just get on and we do like some Q&A, things like that. So if you're new here, we would love for you to follow us. If you get anything from this show, like the show, share the show, don't be a hoe. But glad to have y'all here, and let's dive into it. Today we're going to be talking about some of the highs and the lows of my week, because it has been a trip to hell and back, to say the least. It started off, anybody who has me on Facebook knows that on Sunday, my world kind of took a crazy turn. So Sunday we went to church, and Kyla wanted to come in big church with us, and something was off with her. I knew something was off. Like, she was just being kind of strange. So she comes in big church with us and sits with me, but then she doesn't want to stand, and she's complaining of pain and like light pain, nothing bad. Just, she felt like she was kind of sore a little bit. So whatever, no big deal. So the whole church, like, singing part, I held her, like, during every song. I mean, she's 7. She's not 20, 30 pounds. She's 50, 60 pounds, you know? So she's pretty muscly. So I'm holding her. We're singing the songs and everything, and she's just laying on my arm. And it's not like her. She gets into it a little bit, you know? She is shy, so she don't get into it a ton, but she does get into it a little bit. And she wasn't. So we got done in church. We were heading home, and she started complaining of hip pain. I'm like, okay, well, you know, you're probably just sore. You probably slept on it funny. You know, you're in cheer. Do some stretching real quick and see if that helps, or see if it's maybe something like that. And what she's doing, she's like doing like some rotations with her hip, pulling her knee up and to the side and whatnot. But anyways, so she's doing that, and she starts crying. She's like, Mommy, this hurts. Like, this hurts really bad. And I'm like, well, you want to go do something today to maybe take your mind off of it, you know? Because at this point, I'm like, you know, you're probably just sore, baby. It's okay. Everything's going to be fine. Tomorrow you'll probably wake up and it'll be cool. And so she agrees. She's like, yeah, let's go to St. Augustine. And she wasn't, like, super excited about it. But she's like, yeah, I guess. Let's go to St. Augustine, and we can act like tourists and maybe ride the trolley. And I'm like, yeah, let's go do that if that's what you want to do. If that'll make you feel better, let's do it, girl, whatever. So we get dressed. We get changed. She's still on and off complaining about her hip, and we're headed there, and we're going over the bridge, the Palaca to East Palaca Bridge, and she starts screaming like in pain, and y'all bear with me. It's you probably see me fidgeting. I don't normally fidget this bad. Talking about Kyla's hard for me. That's my heart. So anyway, she starts screaming like bloody murder screams going over the bridge, and I'm like, okay, something's wrong. Kyla, talk to me. Like, what's happening, baby? What's going on? Talk to me. And she's like, it hurts. It feels like someone's pinching and twisting and pulling, and something's not right. And I said, okay, well, we're headed this way. Let's go. We'll go by Flagler Hospital, and we'll have them look at it, thinking it would be like a quick thing. She kept saying, no, Mommy, like, I'm not gonna make it, Mommy, like, take me to a doctor now, please, take me to a doctor now. And at this point, like, my little mama heart goes into a full-blown panic, okay? I'm like, oh, crap, is your appendix, like, about to bust? Is something, what's happening? But instantly, I think appendix. So we turn around, and we head to Putnam Medical Center instead, the one here in Palaca, because it was about a 10-minute drive versus a 30-minute drive. And when we get there, we get in, and we get her seen and everything, and they wrote it off as some constipation, which whatever. Anyways, they wrote off as constipation. They sent us home and said, hey, if she doesn't get any better, and by this time she was throwing up, they were like, if she doesn't get any better, come back. If you think for some reason you need to come back. Like, don't hesitate, come back. So we get home, and we're not even home for, I don't know, 3 to 6 hours maybe. And she's still throwing up everything. Her poor little body, she was like shaking. She was in so much pain. Like, and it was very centralized pain. So is very specific. So she kept pointing to, God, I'm looking away because I'm so like, I hate talking about Kyla. Anyways, so she keeps pointing to the same spot, and it was right there on her little right hip. And yeah, so we take her back, and they wrote it off as constipation again and sent us on our way. So we come home, and let me just stop right there. So please be an advocate for your kid. You know your kid better than a doctor knows your kid. A doctor has the tools, and he has the tests, and he probably has a little more knowledge than most of us normal people. But you know your kid. You know how your kid acts. You know if your kid's being dramatic. You know if something's kind of off. And I knew something was kind of off. And I didn't advocate Kate for her as good as I normally do. And the guilt trip that comes with that is unreal. And God, I don't wish that alone on anybody. But anyways, yeah, just advocate for your kids. Be there for your kids. Listen to your kids. And always do what you think is right by them. You know, you're their voice in this world, because a lot of times other people will write kids off too. So be their voice when they don't have one, or they don't know the words to put together. But anyway, so we try and make it through the night. Kyla has a hard time sleeping. She slept in her own room, and she had her phone, and I had my phone on, the volume turned all the way up. And I mean, she must have called me every hour and said, "Mommy, it hurts. Like, what do I do? It hurts." And I'm like, "Okay, well, let's just try and make it through the night, baby. Let's try our best." And I should have stopped right then. I should have immediately took her somewhere, but what do? You didn't know. I thought it was I literally thought it was constipation. So we wake up the next morning, and I take Colby to daycare, and I said, "Okay, Kyla, let's head out. We're going to Orlando. We're going to Advent, and we're going to get this looked at and get a second opinion, because something is not right. There's no way constipation's hurting you that bad. I mean, I know gas pain hurts, but dang, it should not have you up like this after we've done laxatives, stool softeners, a glycerin suppository that didn't, like, none of those did anything. As far as making her use the bathroom, nothing. But she's still at this point throwing up. I'm like, something's blocked. Maybe something's blocked. Like, I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. But obviously I was Google happy on researching things, and I still didn't find what was wrong with her through Google. But still, I was like, something's off. This isn't like her, and I got to figure this out, because if not, she can't stay in pain like this. This isn't right. So we get down there. They do an ultrasound of her little belly, and they found that one of her ovaries looked to be about 3 times the size of the other one. So they're like, "Hey, she's small. We can't really do any more tests on her other than just exploratory." And so they pop in, and they put a little camera in her belly button and look around. And when they got in there, let me just say, that was the scariest 2 hours of my life. And trying to explain to a 7-year-old that you're about to go in for surgery is, it's not easy. It's not easy. Her little heart, she was so nervous, and she was still, like, she was shaking so bad all day, and all day the night before, and I know her whole little body was tired. But when she's looking at me, or any kid is looking at you and they're crying just because, one, they're confused, like, what's going on? Am I okay? And she kept saying, "Mommy, like, am I gonna be alive after this?" And that was like I said, that was the scariest conversation ever, because you never know what's going to happen during surgery. She's never been under anesthesia. What if she has something go on with her that causes her not to wake up afterwards, you know? And you don't want to let those thoughts creep in, because they're intrusive, and they're hard to kick. Like, they are hard to kick when you start thinking of things like that. But thank God for Advent. They have a child, I think it's called Child Life. They wear pink shirts. I know that. Kyla loved that they had pink shirts. And they come around, and they have stuffies, and she ended up leaving with a Squishmallow and, like, a whole bag of, like, Legos and goodies and things to keep her mind kind of clear while we were there. And they're really good at filling that void in conversation from adult talk to kid talk. So they were able to tell her, like, "Hey, baby, you're going to go in there, and you're going to be the most popular girl in the room. Everyone's going to be there just for you. You have a doctor who's going to make sure your sleeping medicine's working. You're going to have a doctor that's looking at your heart the whole time to make sure it's doing what it needs to do." And I mean, they helped a ton in that conversation, but at the same time, like, she still didn't fully understand it, and she was still terrified, and having to stay strong for your kid during that when you're really breaking on the inside. Who I bet some of y'all have done that. That's hard. God, that's hard. And I can't imagine what some of y'all parents go through who have kids who have cancer or something like that. Like, it's so sad. I would never wish that any parent had to go through that. And I don't know how y'all do it. Y'all are amazing. Y'all are seriously amazing. And in retrospect, when I think about y'all compared to Kyla and her little procedure she had an issue, like, I don't even know what I would do. I don't know. I mean, I guess in the moment it's different, and when you're dealing with it, it's different, but just thinking about it, like, I don't feel like I can make it through something like that. And I give y'all props. Like, I give y'all huge props, and it's amazing. And if anyone out there ever needs anything, or there's something I can help with or talk to y'all about, or just talk with y'all, or let y'all vent, or I don't know, just give you a hug, like, feel free to reach out. I'd be happy to do whatever I can to help. But anyways, they took her back, and longest 2 hours of my life. Thank God, before we went back, Ricky Bybee gave me a call, and he just prayed with me, and while, I was still nervous, and it was still a long 2 hours, like, the peace that came after I got off the phone with Ricky was surreal. Like, it was different. I suck at talking about Kyla. But I wasn't as worried anymore, and I just I went to the cafeteria because I hadn't ate all day because I'd been with Kyla. I grabbed some chicken strips. They were disgusting, but God, were they good because I hadn't ate all day. You soak anything in enough barbecue sauce and it makes it all right. But I sat in there and I prayed. I talked to everybody on my phone, trying to stay busy. I did some work trying to stay busy, but in the back of my head, I was, like, still praying and, like, please, God, just make this all okay. Like, please don't let him get in there and find something worse. Please don't let anything happen, like, on the doctor's side. And they're texting you updates throughout, and their patient's doing great. Patients started surgery, things like that. So those were kind of giving me a little bit of comfort, because I knew if something was to start going wrong, I would be notified. But anyways, I go back after the 2 hours is up, and once they're done with surgery, and the surgeon walks in and comes and talks to me, and he brings out this little set of pictures that he shows me, and they got in there, and it wasn't the outcome we wanted. I was really hoping, like, they would go in and say, hey, it looks like her ovary just twisted, and when we untwisted it, all was fine. We tacked it back up, whatever. Because that was what they were thinking. It was a torsion, and that was probably what they were leaning towards. But he came out and he said, hey, it was a torsion. It was a torsion on the side we weren't expecting it to be. So torsion just is a fancy word for saying it twisted. So her ovary had twisted. I don't know how long it had been twisted. I have a pretty good feeling it's when we were going over the bridge and she started screaming. But it died. It lost blood circulation long enough that it died. So they had to remove it. My girl is rocking one ovary now, and, like, I am so thankful that they were able to find the issue, fix the issue, and she's alive and she's well, and she's gonna make a full recovery, and she can be Kyla. And she like, afterwards, it was so beautiful, because she went from being a version of herself that I've never seen to being a version of herself that felt familiar. It still wasn't completely right, but I mean, like, she called me a big back, and I was so excited to be called a big back, because that meant she was feeling better, But anyways, so it was a crazy ride. But now they say, like, it shouldn't affect anything with her in the future with having kids, that her other ovary will kick in and it'll do its job twice as good now, because it's the only one in there. So as long as her genes are set up to work and there wouldn't have been any issues to begin with, we're good. Thank the Lord, we are good. So that was the beginning of my week. Literally terrifying, but thank God, like I said, she's alive, she's well, things are good. But I'm gonna switch topics now, because y'all aren't supposed to see me cry, because I'm not a crier. I'm a badass in my mind, so y'all aren't supposed to see this side of me. But anyways, so let's hop into some of the highs for the week. So I'm recording this on Thursday. We're recording this pretty late because everything that happened with Kyla. Typically, we record on like Monday, Tuesday. So you hear things 4 or 5 days after we record them. But anyways, so last night, which was Wednesday, we had our first bingo night that myself and Catherine Barker hosted. Now, this event is it's like a marketing event, kind of like a networking event a little bit for some of the local businesses in town that are sponsors. Myself, like I said, I'm a realtor, and then Catherine Barker, she's a loan officer that I know and love and use like religiously. So yeah, we hosted that event, and we had 480 people show interest in this bingo event. First of all, y'all didn't tell me bingo was a poppin' event, okay? Bingo, I thought, was a depressing game growing up. Like, I hated bingo, but bingo is where it's at, apparently. And I'm by no means a professional bingoer. Like I said, I've only played bingo for maybe 10 minutes sitting in the living room in a super unprofessional setting, but bingo was popping. 480 people. 480. That's a lot of people. That's almost 500 people. Anyways, so I'm thinking, maybe 60, 70 of these people actually show up, whatever. No, we had to turn people away. We had and I know this because we had a pack of markers for the dry race, not the dry race, they were dry race markers, but we had a pack of markers, and there was 144 markers in there, and they were all gone. We had to ask people to bring some markers back and maybe share with a neighbor if you were close with them, so that, we had enough for everyone to be able to play. But yeah, so we had probably 150, 160 people there. It was absolutely phenomenal. So thank y'all so much for coming to bingo. Thank y'all for supporting me. That means a ton. It means the world to me that I have people in this community who, if I post something, they believe in me and they trust in me, and they come and they want to be a part of it. And I mean, a lot of y'all probably don't realize that this is marketing, but I mean, for 2 hours, y'all stared at my face on a bingo card. So hopefully I've worked myself, and Kat has worked herself into your subconscious a little bit. And if you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in a home, you need to reach out to one of us. Yeah, that was a shameless plug. But anyways, yeah, so that was a high. That was amazing. And when I got there, I was nervous. I'm not the type of person who gets nervous, but setting up bingo, the nerves kicked in, man. They were kicking in thick. So I don't drink. Like, I don't drink at all anymore, but last night I drank, and let me tell you, I remember why I don't drink. I'm really good at going from 0 to hero real quick, and I don't think about it, because usually the issue is I don't eat. But anyways, I was fine the whole time we were there. Taylor, if you ever hand me one of those pink shots ever again, I swear to the Lord above, we will fight. not seriously, but no. She kept handing us. They would order, like, their table was sitting right next to the bingo setup, and their table would order shots, and she would slide one in over there, and they were the nastiest shot. Oh my God, I think they were vodka, but just thinking about it makes me want to, But by the end of bingo, by no means was I like toasted during bingo, but I was feeling it. Like, don't get me wrong, I was feeling it, but I was still there. But after bingo, after the restaurant had closed and it all started kicking in, let me tell y'all, I was really feeling it. And by the time I got home, I needed my bed. So, but it was fun. It was fun. Please don't think less of me because I drank, but it was a great time, and I appreciate it again. And this kind of leads me into the next thing. So bingo was a huge success. If I would have said 5 years, no, let's do further than that. If I would have said 7 years ago when I got into sales, I was going to have a bingo event and people were going to come, people would be like, no, they're not. They're not going to come to your stupid little bingo event. Why would they come? And I'm telling you this because these are the same things. That's exactly what I heard when I got into sales. People were, you can't do sales your whole life. Like, you can't do it. You're not going to make any money. You're going to be broke. Like, you just can't do it. And let me tell y'all what sales has done for me. Sales has been amazing for me. And I can never picture myself in any other setting. And all this is to say that you have to start somewhere, whether someone believes in you or not. Like, you don't need anyone to believe in you to do something. Believe me or not, you don't have to have someone believe in you to do something great with your life. And honestly, like, why is it that we live in a culture that expects people to believe in each other and everyone's little plans when they go start new things. Once you start doing things and people see your success, yeah, then they start believing in you. But just starting off, why would you want to put yourself in a mindset where you feel like someone has to believe in you? Kick that to the curb, man, because it's not realistic. Because a lot of times the same person who's like, yeah, I'm going to start a business and it's going to be a multi-million-dollar business. Like, what? No, you're not. That's not real. But these same people who say these things are the same people, and I'm guilty myself, who are like, oh, I'm going to lose weight. Well, do we ever lose weight? No. You also say things like, oh, I'm going to start eating better, and you don't start eating better. Or, oh, I'm going to stop drinking, and you drink. It's like I did last night. I don't drink, but I drank that night. So that looks like a failure on my part. But until you've done something to prove to people you can do something, don't expect people to believe in you, and stop using that as a crutch not to do what you need to do. Because at the end of the day, you can take those words that they say, those negative words, and you can use them as fuel to get up each day and kick some ass. Not literally, like, don't go fight them, but what I'm saying is, like, use that as fuel to get up. And, like, for me, I need to start using that fuel. People are like, you're not actually going to lose weight. I need to start using that as a fuel to push me to go to the gym every day. Not just go by the gym, go in the gym, use the gym, not the tanning bed. I know y'all are guilty too, but actually go in there and actually work out. But yeah, don't expect somebody to believe in you. Go do the thing without them, and then prove to them that you can do something on your own and you don't need them. And then let me tell you, those same people who are like, you can't do that, they're going to come back and they'll be like, oh my God, I knew you could do it. And I can tell you they're going to say this because I've heard it. The same people who told me you can't do that now see me making more money than them and doing better than them. And they're like, oh, I knew you could do it. I'm like, bitch, I remember what you said. Like, that doesn't go away. It doesn't go away at all. But you hear it from the same people, and, it's like, this isn't even worth my time to argue with you about this, but just know I remember what you said. I remember you told me I wouldn't make it, and now look at me, I did it. And that alone is the best, the absolute, like, I can't stress this enough. It is the best revenge to be able to say, I did it, you said I wouldn't do it, and I did it. You can't top it. But anyways, I'm going to stop talking. I appreciate all y'all for, like I said, showing up for me for this podcast, showing up for us for bingo, always supporting me through whatever I do, being there for Kyla, saying kind words, praying for her, just thinking of her in the moment, in that moment, because let me tell y'all, that helped me out so much. I know that sounds pathetic to say that I went on Facebook to get some feel-good vibes, but Mama needed it. I did, and I appreciate it more than y'all know. So again, if you got anything from this show, if you learned something, if it made you smile, if it made you laugh, if you were like, y'all need to listen to this, don't be a hoe, share the show, and we'll talk to y'all next time. Later.